take care of that. And I'm just going to say, go for it, you two. And who is our gentleman?
All right.
Who is
Yeah, this is
man?
And what's the machine? What's the machine you're using?
Yeah,
Did you put them on?
so I'll introduce Ricky. He is actually my lead tech in the back.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi.
This is his first Zoom, so yeah, he'll be, you know, I might do more talking than he does, but that's okay on it. So he does all my top end machines and all that type of machines and in the back. So but he's the lead tech back there, so he's the one that knows it all, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what he said. So we decided, and don't worry, I have another camera that will get closer to the machine. So I was asked to do how to service, how to clean your machines and keep them up to date and stuff. Again, we do a lot of servicing here, and what you do at home is more maintenance than service on it. It's just like your car. If you don't get your oil change in your car, it doesn't matter if you take it to the mechanic in a year. If you're not changing the oil and keeping it up, it's gonna not run right. That's, you know, kind of similar like that. Even like your air conditionings at home. You don't change your filters, keep things clean, you know, things like that. When the guy comes out or when, you know, it's not gonna matter, you know, it's gonna be worse. So what we wanna do is kind of educate you on what to do.
Yeah.
So you can keep it, so you don't have to bring it to us every 6 months. You can keep it clean, you can keep it going. And when you bring it in, it's nothing major wrong with it. It just needs a maintenance. Time, if you have questions, you can stop us. We chose a couple machines. We chose like an older machine, then we chose another machine. We're going to show you how to take it apart, how to oil it, and why you bring it in. Because some of the machines, when you try to crack them open, well, if you don't crack them open right, you just ruined it. So
They won't go back together.
yeah, you found that out, right? He said it basically won't go back together, right? So this is why you bring it to us. And then we have a couple top ends that, again, you're asking about the static board and that. Again, that's a reason why you bring it to us, because one, we have the right tools, the right screwdrivers. I mean, because people do that.
There's a lot of adjustments to do on the service side as well.
Yeah. I mean, he has these tools that look like magnets, but they're not magnets, and they're height adjustments for the feet and all the feed dogs and all that. So, and the needle bar. So there's a whole bunch of different things you can do. What's this? Someone asked earlier about warranty. And it's under warranty, and you open it what you're not supposed to, you can void your warranty. And there's a reason why they do that, is because especially your electronic machines, they have wires there. So if you think, oh, I'm just going to open this side and it has a LED light on there, you can snap it off. You can ruin the board. LED has actually an electronic board to it. It's not just the light bulb, it's the board. So if you accidentally take it off and pull it, you just voided your warranty. We know you opened it. You know, the manufacturer will know you opened it. So there are reasons why, you know, we show you what we show you, because it will not void your warranty. So, and people, and they knew, we know, it's kind of like your mechanics. They know if you went in and tried to do something when you take your car in, and we know, they know in the back.
Yeah.
And when they open their machine, they're like, oh, someone's been in this, you know, so, yeah. So, I mean, because they have the different ways and so forth. All right. So any questions so far? Anything you'd like to see that we're going to might not talk about?
I have a question. Thread pass with a computerized machine, yes. But you get notices sometimes that there's lint or threads in the thread path. I would really like you to show us how we can clean that thread path. I mean, we're trying unwaxed dental floss and everything else, and I do think that that might be something that we want to talk to you about. So yeah.
Okay, we can do that. We can show you how to clean. There's only a couple ways you can do it. We do teach a little bit how to clean your thread path on some of them. Again, it all depends on your machine, whether it's a Baby Lock, a Brother, Viking, Foss. They're all different up here. So on it, but I can show you how to clean the tension and so forth. A pipe cleaner works really well.
Yes.
I just,
Yay.
What question did Sandy have?
Sandy Lane, go ahead.
Yeah, we don't have pipe, but we'll show you the snap. I'll show you how to do it.
yeah, I just wanted to mention that if the ladies go down to reactions button on the bottom of the screen, and if you go underneath the emojis, there'll be a raise hand command. Then when you're done, you can lower your hand so it's gone. That way they can see that somebody has a question.
We hope. And if someone sees someone has a question, we
Rita
don't.
probably will see it before you.
Okay. Yeah.
Rita will see it before you do. I'm just mentioning that because it's kind of a more polite way as opposed to just everybody jumping in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Perfect. I know that's my machine. Okay, so just to start off with it, keeping your machine clean, just like anything else, is, we use like a 409 in the back. We don't spray the machine. We on a cloth and we wipe the machine. So it's a 409. Do you dilute it at all?
Yes, a little bit.
So we dilute the 409. So this will work on any machine. So it's a good way to clean your machine, the top, like this one's, you probably can't see it, but it's very, very dirty. I would have cleaned this machine before I brought it in. I'm just saying on it. So we clean it with a 409 solution, and you just clean all your areas up here. Now we're talking about actually has what we kind of call like the old fashioned tension. And how would you clean it if you didn't get into it?
Down with maybe even just the rag itself. Just maybe put some 409 on it and just pass it through the tension itself.
Does everyone know what tensions, the way the tensions are on the machine? So I'm gonna explain anyways, but so tension, you have two metal pieces. My hands are the metal pieces. And when the foot is down, they're closed. When the foot is up, they're open. Well, all your thread goes through that tension disc, whether it's this machine, a top end machine, there's some type of tension disc, whether it's this way or this way, there's some type of tension disc. And what he was explaining, like here, when your foot is up, your tension disc opens. So if you can take a piece of pipe cleaner or a piece of fabric, and rub it in between there, if you have any fuzzes or anything caught in there, you'll get that out on it.
Oh,
yeah. Cool. And that's what, whether it's this way, whether it's this type of tension, either way. So on this one, you kind of have to do it like this. On this one, you would kind of take your fabric or your pipe cleaner and slide it in, get in there and kind of slide it up and down in there on that. And a lot of your top ends are similar to this way. Yeah. And what it is, your tension disc open, and make sure your foot's up when you do that on it. Because if not, it won't go through. You're just cleaning the outside on it.
We have a question.
I heard you say that you put something on it. 409, which is a spray.
Using. Sometimes, like since we're talking about tension, you can use even rubbing alcohol. That will work fine as well, and actually will clean. I will say more in the tension because we're talking about metal. It's not plastic. Like alcohol will clean it better. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
We have another question.
Yeah, my question is, somebody told me the optical cloths that you use for cleaning glasses, there's microfiber, and they use the glasses cleaning, which is also a diluted alcohol.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
On it.
Thank you.
Yeah, without a problem. Again, it's more expensive, so
yeah,
I'd go buy alcohol from the store, the rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the vodka, the rubbing alcohol from the store, and and use that. Because for $1 you can get a thing of it. And that also takes off if you ever write on your machine or write on your hoops or anything, or you have a quarter-inch, anything like that. If you guys write on it, rubbing alcohol is a good way to get something off the machine without damaging it.
Yeah, just be careful on the letters, like this one here. Maybe on the newer ones, there's some, especially like for Nina, that if you use like 90% rubbing off, actually probably take it off on the singer as well.
Oh, dear.
So just I will use it just on the metal itself, on the tension, and that's it.
So he's basically saying, like on here, you don't want to clean your machine with rubbing alcohol. You just want to clean the tension, and if you have something on the metal pieces, use the rubbing alcohol.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and all that. Okay. We good so far?
Yep.
Okay. So we chose an older machine on it, and I am going to switch cameras, and we're going to take the one apart. So. Let's see what it looks like. Ah, there we go. So first thing you want to do is, so you don't poke yourself,
Take the needle.
take the needle out. Just been there, done that. And you also can take your foot off if it's easy to take off and you're okay with the screw. Again, that gets it out of the way on that. And then also you should unplug your machine. You shouldn't have your machine on when you're doing this. So the next thing I'm gonna have Ricky show you.
Well, here we have like an old singer, so definitely you get the needle plate. This one has a stopper, so it won't go all the way out. There's a way to force it, but again, we're showing you something that you guys can do. And if you cannot put it back together, here we go again. You gotta come back to us. So let's just stop where we are sure that we're doing the things right. So this one will open only this much. The needle plate, it will snap off. Most of needle plates on like a high hand, they're actually screwed in. You should have like something like this for V-block. It's, or maybe in the plastic piece. Anyway, it's for screw those.
You picked a good one.
Yeah.
It's dirty.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So here we have even another stopper for actually the bobbin case itself. We can take the bobbin and bobbin case out, and I will stop there.
Can we see the dirt?
Hey.
So it's, see all the dirt here? This is what you don't want to keep in your machine. So, and we always joke about this. Everyone, we've cleaned machines and we've had people complain that we took their extra feed dogs away on it because it was the dirt next to the feed dogs. So if you ever have feeding issues, one of the things is make sure you don't have compact like lint and everything around feed dogs. Because right here, I mean, if you basically put a bunch of lint and compact that, your feed dogs won't, you know, they can't move because you're
Especially on a needle plate, so it will actually move stuff.
on it. So what I recommend is there's this brush here. There's also these here are little things on that we sell here, of course. And then they're also, what we do is we recommend just kind of going in here and cleaning it away from the machine. So the number one thing we do not recommend is can air. You want to toothbrush?
Yeah.
So we get it all clean, and then the service guys actually use a toothbrush to get in there and really clean.
It's better because it's, for us, like it's harder, the brush itself, than those. So for us, the cleaning, it's important for you guys to see the machine really clean. So we want to do it right. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So they use a toothbrush. At home, you can use a toothbrush, but what you want to do is you want to get a lot of the things out first before you go in there. And see how if I poke that in there, see? And you can kind of get it in easier and get it back in there and see how dirty it is and get it away from the machine. The reason why you don't use can air is because can air is going to push it down in the machine, especially if you have a computerized machine, then it's going to push it all the way away from basically this area and push it to the side. And what's going to happen, and then your boards and stuff are going to get really dirty and cause issues. Oh, you have a question?
What about a vacuum?
Go ahead.
Can you vacuum it?
You can, and I have one just for you.
Okay.
Let me switch cameras again. Let's go back to our normal. Yep. So he has we sell the Ricard little hand vac that actually comes with a little attachment, and it comes on and off that you can vacuum. Again, a little brush helps with the vacuum. And if you already have a small vacuum, you can use these tools. And I highlight every sewer should have these. They're mini vacuum attachments, and they run $12.99. But for computerized anything, whether it's your computer or your sewing machine or anything electronic in your house, these have all the different attachments. So what I do on my machine, I usually kind of get the lint away, and then I go back and vacuum all the other excess on it. So it helps. Again, you're not pushing it in the machine, you're sucking it out. So highly recommend it on it. But if you don't have a mini vacuum or you don't want to get a smaller vacuum, these work on pretty much everything. I actually use because it has a longer hose and everything. And it has really many attachments for everything around the house. So good question on that. Any other questions so far? Okay, let's go switch back.
Well, I do have.
And we're going to do this a couple times. Okay.
What is the price on that mini vacuum?
It is, I think, 39, I believe. 59. And
it is, what is the brand name?
It is Ricard Gem, and it's 59, and you get your ASG discount on it. So
we like that.
Yeah, it's 15% off on it. So anything we show you, you get your discount on it. So on it. All right, so we're back here. So cleaning this, again, this is an older machine. This one actually has, and I don't know if you see that little red circle there? So that's actually oiling hole on it. So let's talk about oil. Do not go down the dollar store and buy oil. No olive oil, no 3-in-1, no, yeah. You want a lightweight oil that you get here. And we sell them in tubes for like $6, and they'll last you forever. I mean, it's something that, because all you're doing, all you're doing is basically a drop right there on it. That's it. Nothing more. And if you do that every couple of times a month, once a week, you're fine. So, and that oil will last you forever.
And it's a drop.
And it's a drop, not a a big squeeze. It's just a drop. Anything you oil in your machine, it's just a drop, not a squeeze, squeeze on that. And this is actually the oil, like I said. We sell this and we sell another one. But this, like I said, this should last you forever. I mean, unless you have 10 machines, then you might go through it on it. So, all right, let's go back to So on this particular machine, you have that drop of oil. We're going to go to a front load oil that. So we did the cleaning on it. Got it that. Also on your bobbin case, see how dirty your bobbin case is? You should clean your bobbin case too. Right?
Yeah.
So far so good?
Yeah.
Make sure I'm doing it right. My expert is watching.
It's all good. It's all good.
And also, this is where your tension, right there. So even cleaning that area,
yep,
just to make sure, I'm doing it blind because I can't, the machine's in front of me. Cleaning that area, make sure there's no thread caught in there, is also good. Okay. Now, putting your bobbin case back in. I'll let you do that since you're on that side.
Always, whenever we take something apart, I suggest to actually remember how it is. If we don't take a picture, with your phone, that way actually we can put it back together. Most of the high ends that I get at the service, one of the main problem, because it's been taken apart one way and it's put back together in different way. So the bobbin kits get stuck underneath the plate, underneath the feed dogs. There's always many things that I see. And it's not a big deal, but it's for you when you have to actually pick the machine up, put it in the car and drive over here. So we can avoid that, just taking a picture.
Either a picture on your phone or a video.
A video too as well. And another drop of hook that you can put, it can be definitely on the hook itself, which is the hook race where the bobbin case is gonna sit. That way, just one drop, that way basically, maybe the first couple of stitches are gonna be with a little bit of oil, so we wanna maybe test it on a scrap piece of fabric. But it's gonna help the plastic or metal that it is with the running of the hook underneath. So the bobbin case here, we're gonna put it back, sitting it on the hook itself, and then we're gonna stop it with the stopper itself. Put it back. Here, actually, we can use flat screwdriver in this case because it has the guide for it. And then again, like we put it apart, we put it back together, needle plate, and close.
And then this. So your foot goes back on. Backwards. Yeah, I did. On it. So let's talk about needles. How often should you change your needle? Anyone know?
All the time.
All the time. That's a good one. So we recommend every 8 hours of sewing, not 8 hours of your machine sitting there, of 8 hours of sewing. So pretty much that's like every project. Sometimes your needles are bad. I mean, you might get a bad needle. You know, I buy mine by 100 pack. And, you know, on the 100 pack, I might get 1 or 2 that are bad. I might get 5 that are bad because, you know, who knows when they were made. Could have been a Friday night at 5 o'clock, you know. So always change your needle. If you're having issues with your stitch, if you're stitch is not stitching correctly, we recommend 1, stop, go have a glass of wine. No, I'm just kidding. Stop, clean your machine on it, change your needle, rethread your machine. Because 1, at midnight, you might be tired, or you think you did something, or you did something. So stop, clean your machine if you haven't cleaned it, change your needle, rethread your machine. And 95% of that time, it changes the stitch and you're off and going. And this is whether it's midnight or 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, those are us. And the first thing I do is, have you rethreaded your machine? Have you cleaned your machine lately? Have you changed your needle? These are the things even Ricky says in the back. Yeah. These are the simple things that you guys can prevent from having it come into the doctor. Plus, if you have a bent needle, you're going to damage your hook in your machine. So that also can cause, because what it'll do is the bent needle will come down and hit the hook. The hook, what he was talking about, this little guy, this hook that the bobbin case sits on that, well, that rotates where the needle is. And if the needle's bent, it's going to chip at that every time you lower your needle goes down. So again, that's something you'd have to bring in for, because we need to buff it out or replace the hook. So again, preventing new needles, a needle that costs what, 50 cents a quarter is better than a service on it. So just kind of heads up. So we got that one done. Any questions so far? We're going to do another machine.
How do you buff your hook? What do you use to buff your hook?
The question is
well, we use different things. One of the main things that we use, it's a stone, we call it. It's a specific, I want to say, what material, I don't know really what like it's made of.
Similar to like an emery board?
It's similar actually to those stones that chefs use to sharpen their knives. Okay. But they're actually really small one. I would say the size of, I don't know, a little finger. And basically that's what we use, but we have to take the whole hook out to do that. And then we have a buffer machine and smoother machine. So basically we're going to go through a process of buffing, and there's some type of sandpaper as well that they actually sell exactly for sewing machine technicians, because it's on a roll, but it's actually really like probably it's an inch of the width. It's only an inch, so we can actually just decide wherever we can reach. But most of the time we have to take out the hook and buff it with our material and
Okay, this is another machine. This is another type of machine. For those who have the front loading on it, we figured we'd show you this. Again, at the time, we're not going to unscrew this, but you would unscrew your plate, take your foot off, take your needle off, and then right here, this is how you take your bobbin case out. So he's going to...
There's actually a lever itself. We want to take the lever up because if basically the lever disengages with the
So we take the bobbin case out.
and here we have a wrong button.
Oh, that's another thing. The guys in the back come across is exactly what this person's machine. See this? Oh, sorry. See this bobbin in the bobbin case? Go ahead and put it back in the bobbin case. Is that the right bobbin for that bobbin case? Anyone know?
No.
It's too short.
It's too short. You got it. So
That's a
again,
66.
yeah. So that 66 should have used in the first machine we showed you, not in this machine. This should be a 15 class. So
Right.
again, I know we all have those stash of bobbins that we've had from past machines and stuff like that. Make sure you use the right bobbin in your machine. And you know, a really good hint for that is if you buy a new machine or you don't know what bobbins are bobbins, one, you can come into Air and we can tell you what it goes to. But mark it with nail polish, just a little tiny dot. So if you have like pink nail polish, and that's all my new machine, pink nail polish. So when you're grabbing it, you're not going to grab the wrong one and then have this simple issue that you can fix at home instead of bringing it in on it. Okay, so go ahead. So next we're going to show you how to take this out and oil it.
This is not really hard in the sense that we see the two black pieces here. Basically, they're just holding the hook race, it's called. It's the ring that comes out right now. This one here. This is called hook race cover. It's basically a ring where the bobbin case actually, that's another thing that we'll see later, but it has to go in a certain position and where the needle goes underneath into before it reaches to the hook itself. This is a front load machine, so we have a shuttle hook and shuttle because it shuttles into the hook brace itself. And that will be it. Basically the machine. And again, we go with our brush and we definitely have to clean really good on the race of the hook because we got to think that the needle is going to bring down the thread from the top, and we have the bobbin in here that there's two threads that basically are going to go around the hook itself, that it's sitting on the race. So the thread goes between the race and the hook itself, so it has to be really clean. And again, once we clean it with our brush, our vacuum, and we put all the thread, all the lint out of the machine, we definitely want to go again with the oil and 1 drop of oil right on the race itself. Then before we put it back together, another thing we can clean is the hook. So here we, if you can see a little guide. That's something that we definitely want to have cleaned out in both sides, sorry, inside, and make sure that the tip of the hook, it's actually smooth, really smooth. If we see it feels roughness, that means that the shuttle hook is actually bad. Missing something or?
Nope, you're good so far. You're all
Okay.
good, yeah.
So then once we cleaned it and put the drop of oil that we needed, we go again, we put it back together.
Yeah, I like to lean it back.
Yeah, lean
I
it
got
back, it's easier because basically it's only sitting on it, and that it's actually what it makes shuttling the hook on the race.
I always tell people it's like a half moon shape. This is
Yeah.
a half moon shape. You have to complete the moon. Oops, I moved it, sorry. You have to complete the moon. So it has to be a full moon on it. Now that I messed it with them. There you go, on it. And again, taking a picture is really good. And honestly, there's a really good YouTube video out there that if you do this, it actually shows you how to take it on and off.
Yeah.
I did send it to someone one day and it actually worked out. She understood it.
Again, even on this one, we can clean it out. Every single part, just grab it, look at it, kind of study it if you are not familiar with it. But definitely if there's lint, just take out all the lint around it. Again, this is where the needle is going to go through. And we have a pin underneath here. So not only the picture, but little guides will help you. And actually there's a little hole there where the pin is going to go. And we know that this is going to be the top. So basically, we're just going to put it in front of it. Now I'm holding it because it's to hold it actually the two levers here, and it will snap on. And there we are.
There you go. And before you start putting your bobbin case in, you can do a rotation with your handle. And if it doesn't clunk, you did good. Even with your top loading bobbins, if you do that before you put your bobbin and start to sew and it doesn't clunk or it doesn't make a weird noise, you're good on it. Okay? And then you want the
bobbin case again with the correct bobbin. We actually grab it again from the little lever. We have the pin that goes inside that little hole. That they do that exactly to make you put the bobbin case in correctly. And it will click in and done.
And I always just kind of give a little, like, see if I can do this backwards. Push, to make sure that, again, and you can rotate it before you start to bring up your thread, and you can notice it's not clunking or spinning or anything like that on it. All right, we move on to another one. So actually, before we move on, let me move the camera up.
Yeah.
This is the type of machine we were talking about, how if you crack it open.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just going to show you, see how inside here, and then even though up here, across, these machines, you can't just take a screw out, and you basically can't take a screw out and just open it. It actually has little pressure points all throughout the whole top machine. And if you crack the wrong pressure point, then you damage and your machine won't go to close together. So again, this is why bringing it to us, they know what these pressure points are on that. Even on the side here, it has a screw here, which this will come out. But then again, the pressure points all around it, you just don't know where that's going to fit.
Yeah, and some machines, they even have, maybe we're taking the cover out because we're comfortable with it, but then inside there's actually extra holding maybe the front cover with the body of the machine. So if we're actually pulling too much, we'll break apart the machine itself.
So knowing why you pay the money, that's because of that, that's why. Plus what we're showing you here, we're showing you just the basic in the front of here, going, through the whole machine. There's oil places that you don't want to oil, but you think you should oil. Yeah. And that could cause damage, especially like the older machines. You think you should oil near the belt and the motor, the bobbin winder, and then it doesn't work anymore because one, you got oil where it shouldn't have. So again, having those little things to do. So we're going to go next to a bigger machine, more computerized machine. He's going to grab a Crescendo. So far, so good. Answering questions? Good? Okay.
Very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Okay. So again, cleaning your tension up here. Go back a little bit. There you go. So cleaning the tension right here. Again, with a pipe cleaner is really easy because it's a little stiffer, or a piece of fabric. You can get in there, but make sure your foot is up when you do that on it. So make sure you have your foot up so when you clean it there on it. Plus looking in there, make sure you don't have any thread breaking. So with that said, we talked about thread. We did talk about thread, but when you thread your machine, you just don't want to, if your thread breaks, you don't want to just pull it really hard. You want to ease it out, because if not, there's some springs in there that you can get it caught on and cause issues with that. Whether it's this machine, the other machines we showed you, whether it's your Bernina, Viking Fob, whatever, there's springs in every tension area. So if you ever break a thread, you want to ease it out. Don't just yank it out. A lot of times I like to cut, and I know it all depends on who you talk to. I always cut up here and pull it through, because I'm pulling it through the same way it's threading through instead of going backwards. You know, it just all depends on.
No, that's the best way, because I mean, you might be lucky. Like, for example, I'm a technician. I don't want to waste time to cut it here away, but it happens what you're doing. You're actually throwing off the check spring out of the sensor. So basically, you're going to actually have to go back, take it apart again, and put back the check spring again. So if I'm a technician, I'll do it probably in 5 seconds. But if I'm at home and I don't really know how to take apart the machine, here we go. We'll have to go and take the machine in the car and bring it in.
So again, cutting it up there, pulling through, yes, you're wasting that much thread, but you're also saving the time of bringing it in. And this is the type of machine, like I was telling you about warranty, there's actually boards up here. There's actually like LED little board up there, and he can actually show you. He's going to through it. Fingernails. So he's going to take the sign off to show you. Oh. So in the, yeah, that's why you don't want to mess with it. Because you have a circuit board here, you have a circuit board here, behind there, and yeah, so you have so much electronics there. And if you put oil there, if you accidentally move one of these wires and it pops out, you're replacing this whole thing. And if you do it, it's not a warranty. Recommend taking these machines apart on it. If you want to tinker with the machine, go to Goodwill, buy an old machine and play with it.
I have a comment.
So,
is there any way, now that you've got that off of there, that you could show everybody that spring you were talking about? Because, you know, I work at a store and I see ladies pulling backwards all the time. And I keep telling them there's a reason why you don't want to do that, because of that spring. And we're very visual. Yeah. And if you show us just how important it is to not get that spring out of whack, we might listen to you.
Okay, right. Well, he can get close. It's kind of hard to see, but we can probably
right. I understand. Yeah.
So anyway, for me, even as a technician, I already took one, right? I have to take another cover off.
Well, he's doing that. Someone has a question. Which way do you rotate the handle? You always rotate it towards you. Mm-hmm. Always towards you. Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Oh, you can really zoom. See if we can, I don't know if it'll work. Oh, there. I'll get. So the tension spring is right. See if I can get it with my. Oh my gosh. There it comes. Can you hold and point?
Right here.
See that spring?
Okay.
That he's touching. So your thread goes around that.
It's so tiny. It's so tiny.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's so tiny. Most people don't understand how delicate it is.
It is.
That's why I wanted them to see it, because we're just talking about something just a little thicker than a wire.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you pull a knot through that and pull it up, it's going to either break it, pop it out of the area, or.
And that's the board. That's the board of the check spring.
Wow.
Okay. Now it seems.
And this is the. Remember, I was saying with my hands earlier. Since we have it open. This is your tension, opens and close. So see how if you got fuzz in there and it wouldn't close all the way? This is why cleaning it with a pipe cleaner, you know, is good. And now you know why we don't hit spray can air in there because of all the boards.
I have a question.
Nope, we have another one.
Yes. It always seems like when my thread breaks, it's in that forbidden area and it's like it's jammed tight. I often thread another thread on top of it to see if that will pull it out. Am I doing the right thing? Because it's, you know, it seems like it's snapped right in that area, forbidden area, shall we say.
Rita, are you saying that you can't pull it then the way it normally?
It's snapped up there.
That happened. It breaks inside, so I don't have a piece of thread to pull it through. Right.
Yes.
I've had that too, so I have no recourse but to pull it back the other
And
way.
that's okay if you're careful. Don't just rip it apart. You know, don't just, you know, if that, and what I do is if that ever happens, is I move my needle up and down. See your check spray. I kind of move it and kind of pull it, you know, pull it as it's moving. Because sometimes it's just stuck in the rotation. So turning your hand wheel towards you and, you know, kind of pulling up at the same time can get that way. But if you're gentle, you're okay. It's when you just go up and pull it out and then you take the check spring with you on it. So you got to watch that.
Okay.
Okay. So again, this is just one part of the machine. This is what's in the whole machine. So this is why taking these front covers off, when you pull them off, they can't just grab them and pull them off because there's wires connected from the front to the back and everywhere. All right, so good. So what we'll do, let's do the bobbin again. This one's a little bit easier because on it, you'll be expert at these time when we're done. So this one just pops off.
Yeah,
here.
take this.
Yep. And then he'll take the bobbin case out. Oh, I should take the needle out, right?
Yeah.
Do what we say.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, this one's too tight. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's something else. Don't tie too much your needle. Like once you hand tied it, it's fine. Then maybe you can get a little snug, but don't push it too much because we had some cases, brand new Solaris, and it got tied too much. The needle clamp or the screw, and it bent the needle bar itself.
So you don't need a big screwdriver to tighten your screw. What he's saying is basically get as tight as you can with your fingers and then maybe 1/2 turn with your screwdriver. But what happens is people, one, they tighten it too tight or they push it. See how I'm pushing it? Well, that's not good on the machine and you're pushing it back and forth on it. Right? And then we have the 2 screws here that you can loosen. And if you don't have the right screwdriver, a quarter or a dime works well.
That works.
I keep one in my free arm because I can always find a quarter or a dime.
Yeah. On a baby lock, I always tell the customers before to separate the needle plate, like we did, take this off. Then you, even if it doesn't look there's enough space for the bobbin case, it just slides out. Really easy. But you want to take off the bobbin case first, and I'll tell you why in a second. And then we're gonna take the needle plate off, and that's with the screwdriver. As easy as you can do it, but with your finger, once you untie them, they come really easy. And there we go.
Oh, look at that.
Talking about the feed dogs.
Look how dirty the feet. Wow. We won't say whose machine this is. See all the extra feed dogs there? But see, what happens is they get compact and it starts moving your needle plate off. Even with your bobbin case down below here in your brace, if you get too much lint there, it can raise your bobbin case up. Yeah, look at all those. Oh, look at that's a perfect one. It's been in there a while. up and the
Yeah,
cutter.
you have thread even in the cutter here.
So again, on the machine, again, it's good to, if your cutter stops working, a lot of times it's just the thread that's caught in there. So cleaning out the thread and cleaning, making sure there's no lint or anything, the thread caught in there is good too.
Yeah, in this case is really.
Is it cut? Yeah, got one little piece. So what I do, and I don't know if it's right, and I don't know if Ricky approves of it, is if I have, when I'm cleaning my machine with my cutter, I actually turn on my machine and I actually make it cut so I can actually brush. So if I have any thread caught there, no,
Yeah.
but I'm a little braver. I have a mechanic at my side to do it. So, but that's what I do with that. But if you clean this often, you shouldn't get things caught. If it's caught, it's usually very lightly caught, not jammed in there. And if you didn't know that, if your cutter doesn't cut the first time, don't keep hitting it, because if you keep hitting it, you're causing more issues. If it doesn't cut, use your scissors or the side of the machine, and then, you know, check to make sure there's nothing caught there. Just cutter, it's a blade. It's just like cutting a knife. You know, sometimes you slice it and it doesn't slice right, you do it again, or a rotary cutter on it. All right, any questions so far here? So again, cleaning it. Again, cleaning it around here. And a lot of times if you break a needle, it gets a needle caught in there. Yeah. But see how the electronics thing into that? And on this one, do you put a drop of oil on this?
You can check with your nail to check if there's burst. That might be a cause of shredding, breaking thread. And definitely you want to put another drop of oil here on the race. Just a little drop.
Again, one drop, that's it.
Then in this case, with this bobbin cases, with this type of,
There you go.
with this type of bobbin cases, like Jackie was saying, this is our tension. When we're talking about tension, we have the upper tension that we were showing you, that you gotta clean it with your pipe cleaner, and the lower tension is actually the bobbin case itself. So right now, right here, this metal part, out of the whole bobbin case, it's our tension. So this screw here is basically what it's actually holding the tension. But on manufacturer, they go through different tests, and they go different, tests on the bobbin case tension, and they put nail polish kind of sort of glue to hold the screw in place. That's why we never want to mess up with the bottom tension. Always adjust. You're buying a $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 machine because it has the electronic screen, electronic here and there. One of the main features that I believe is fantastic is because you can actually lower +8 or 9 and -8 or 9 the tension on the electronic. When before, like we saw on the older Singer, we actually had the dial that we can adjust 0 to 9. It's always a tension that you can adjust before, you know, if you have tension problems, try with that first, that bringing it in. That way you can finish your project and everything. Then when you come in, that's something that you want to tell us, and we'll take a look at the tension itself. And here as well, we can actually do it with the pin. We can go with the pin inside here and kind of dig out, but there's links sometimes that we don't see. But definitely try to put the thread, the hair of the brush itself inside of the tension. Like kind of force it in and try to take out as much as we can. And then on this one, we can get a vacuum as well and vacuum it out really good. It has to be really good. The tension, the bobbin is really clean, almost like new, because that's really sensitive. They're good, really high ends and good machines, but they are high hand for a reason. So they're sensitive on this little things. And we want to look around the plastic here, which this is where it's gonna ride on the hook around here, where we put the oil on the hook itself. So we want to look for burrs that it's really smooth and make sure that it's fine. And then when we put it back together, that's what I said that I was going to tell you before. So we took the plastic cover off first. Then this was still there. We took the bobbin case out, and then the needle. With the same order we took them out, we want to put it back in. And the reason why I'm saying that is because once the needle plate is on, it's screwed in. So most of the times I see this, that people try to clean it, which is a good thing, but when they put the bobbin case in, they put it in crooked, or maybe they move the needle bar up and down or something, the bobbin case move, and then we put the needle plate on top of it and gets locked underneath the needle plate. So what we're going to do, we don't have to be worried, oh, there's not enough space for the bobbin case to go in. No, it's made for that. So we put the needle plate first, and we screw it really good. And they actually have a V-shaped screw, and that's because it's going to make the needle plate sit in position. Then we tie it with our screwdriver, and then we just easily slide in the bobbin case. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than that to do it. Plus, there's a little bump right here. It's kind of hard. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bump, like it kind of bumps against that. So you got to make sure it's seated against that. And some of yours has the white dot and the white dot here on your bobbin case. That lines up too. But again, turning a quick hand wheel and it doesn't clunk or anything like that, you should be good.
Mm-hmm. And then we snap this one back in. And we're good.
There you go. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. With the, I've always had Viking machines for 20-some years, and they used to say if you're going to do bobbin work, you need to change the tension on the bobbin. But they always said don't mess with the one that's in there. Just buy a second bobbin so that you can manipulate that. But what I hear you saying is even the newer machines, and right now I have an Epic. With the newer machines, even if I bought a second one, that tension would be fixed or glued in place. So I can't change it.
Yeah, but the machines like with your Epic, you actually have a creative bobbin case, or that might be for the Foss and Viking have both the same type of bobbin case. They have a bobbin case for bobbin work that has an adjustable tension for you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the Epic does as well, you said?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's
all right, thank you.
bobbin case for bobbin work. Yeah.
Okay,
and
thank
do
you.
That for that reason. So you can adjust it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? On it. I think I mean, that kind of went through, your basic, again, when you add the embroidery unit to the machine. So just so if you bring your machine in for service, I guess that, we have a, before we go ahead.
I have the Epic also, and I've never been told to put a drop of oil on the bobbin. The Epic, that's on.
I haven't been told that either, so I wrote it down.
And I think it totally makes sense to me.
Yeah, I can see the reason.
I know you sell Vikings, so
We
I can ask you some Viking questions. So
Right.
even on the Epic, you would put that one drop on that.
Just a little drop. And,
Yeah, I know
actually,
what one.
I just learned that long ago.
Oh, okay.
That was something new that I didn't actually know until recently
Yeah,
on it. So
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's
So,
good
yeah.
to know.
it just helps it ride. It's just a little lubrication.
Right.
All right, thanks.
I was just going to add something. I don't know if anybody else has done this too, where for whatever reason, the needle comes down on the, what do you call it? The metal plate, on top. And, and it will actually make a burr in there, on there. And I've actually been able to use I think it's this, we're talking about the same thing that you use, and it's almost like an emery, but a cloth feel. To take a small strip of that and put it through that hole you just pointed to.
Yeah.
And make it go back and forth, and I've got rid of that burr very easily myself. Has anybody else had that happen? Anyway, it works. It works well.
That could cause shredding. Yes. So I mean, you can do that on your needle plate. It's just if you keep doing it over and over, then it's time to replace the needle plate.
Oh yeah, I realize that, but I just It saves, if it only happens a couple of times, it saves having to buy a new plate.
You got it. Yep, I totally agree. And that's what we do is when you bring in for service, we check for nicks and stuff on your needle plate. And those are easy to do, you know, like you said, you did yourself. Those are easy to do it. It's just when that nick, imagine that nick on that hook that rotates in your machine.
Yep.
And trying to get it in there exactly where it's at. And that's
Right.
what the boards are, basically, on it.
Yeah.
And it happens. If
Yeah.
you don't use the right needle, if you're using really thick fabric and using like
Yeah.
a size 7511 and using thick fabric, your needle's actually bending as it's going through the fabric.
Yeah.
So what it's doing is instead of going straight through, it's kind of bending, and that's when you get nicks and stuff. And we all do it. I mean, it's something
Right.
we just do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So using the right needle is always good. On it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have a picture. This is for you, Jean. This is the
Oh,
Ave
okay.
specialty case. This is what it looks
Oh,
like.
bobbin case. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it comes with a screwdriver.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. The Epic is relatively new to me. My SE bit the dust after 13 years. So, but, you know, I then switched to the Epic and I enjoy it. But it's a whole lot smarter than I am. I have a lot to learn.
We're gonna be doing bobbin work, the meeting in May.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna be using that kit to do bobbin work.
Okay.
So I'm gonna show you how to do that.
Well, there you go. Then you need that case.
Yeah,
I guess I do.
you're gonna want it. Yeah.
Very good.
All right.
Go
Thank you
ahead.
very much.
You're welcome. I hope we answered questions and hopefully, you know, gave you some info. Oh, yeah, we're talking about the embroidery arm. When you bring your machine in for embroidery, also the embroidery arm actually has belts and a board and shafts and stuff like that. So even what you saw when we opened the side, that's the embroidery arms the same way. So if you ever bring your machine into us, make sure you, and it's embroidery, make sure you bring the arm with it. Because even though we service this part, your machine needs, your embroidery arm needs oil.
Oh,
I mean, that's just, you know, it's not just that. Even though you're like, I never use it. Well, the time you didn't use it, it's sitting there, it's going to be dry and not work correctly.
Is that included in on the price of the cleaning? And you automatic, because I know some places don't want you to bring that arm in at all.
Yeah, and
Right.
but it's yeah, no, you need to oil that arm and clean it and stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
embroidery, it's a different type of sewing, let's put it this way, but it's still, the embroidery arm is part of your machine.
Yeah,
You can use the embroidery arm like the bed, and you know,
Right.
if you're quilting, you have more space where to work on it. So definitely the lint and threads and pins, they can go inside of it. So definitely you want to service the embroidery arm.
yeah, and I think mine's pretty noisy. I think it
Yeah.
needs a little bit of oiling.
Yeah, and that will help it get that'll help it get some oil on it. You know, and that's we'd recommend it.
do you
And
have
we
a
charge
what for just plain servicing if you don't have
so
a problem?
service on the machine for embroidery is $149.
Okay.
And that includes the embroidery unit and everything. If you bring your machine in without the embroidery unit, it's still $149.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. It's worth bringing.
Have a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And all we ask is if you're bringing your machine, you bring the embroidery arm, the machine with a regular foot on it, and that's it. And a bob, you know, if you have a bobbin, you know, bobbin in there. Everything else you can keep at home because we have hoops in the back. We have other feet in the back. Power. Unless it's something odd. Now, if you bring in an older machine that we may or may not have the cord for,
Yeah.
then yes, you know.
What about just getting the arm? Could you just put an arm on one of yours? Because it's my arm that's noisy. The rest of the machine is fine.
We could
It got
just-
serviced without the arm going with it. And I feel like the arm's too noisy.
Yeah, if you bring just the arm in, it would be $49.99.
Okay,
And we can test it. Yeah, and we can
Okay.
test it in ours.
all right.
We have a question from Marlene.
I have a serger. If I'm cleaning my serger
We may talk about surgery.
Despite the you just showed us, is there any special place on the surgery that we should be very, very careful, gentle, and absolutely make sure that's clean besides the cutting area?
We're getting a lot of demand from, I'm getting.
The cutting area, unless you
want a surgery. They want you to do a surgery.
I know, he's gonna go get one. Yeah, he'll go grab one. You know, your blades on the sergers, and honestly, if you really got your finger in, you really have to get it in there, and you would have to try hard to cut yourself. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you'd have to try hard to do that.
He's doing it. How awesome.
So on a serger, I highly, highly, highly recommend a vacuum. Because of all the lint. I clean my
Thread
serger.
at first. I had half of a spool sucked into my vacuum before I realized what was going on. So.
Oh no. Yeah, that's it. So on a serger, so like I was talking about the blades right here, I mean, you would really have to get your hand really in there to get it cut. But when I clean my serger, I actually clean my serger every time I'm using it. I have a brush next to me that when I'm done doing a couple seams, I just brush it out because it does cut, it does get a lot of lint on there, on it. But if you're going to clean your serger, you would do the exact same thing we did before. Take the thread out, like she said, and there's thread in here. There we go. Take the needles out. If your machine opens on the side, oh, look how dirty. We picked some good ones, huh? We just pulled them from our pile there. But see how dirty this is? And it actually shouldn't get that dirty. But this is where you would brush and keep brushing. But this is where I say a vacuum would work better because it is.
Oh my.
What happens in it that you see here is down below underneath in the plate here, down below in your machine. And then you have all your gears in the back of your machine that all that lint has now gotten into on it. So if you can open the side, I'd clean the side and then again, clean here. And there's really nothing you can damage on a serger. No. I mean, it's, you know, it's more solid than a sewing machine. Yeah, because the loopers should be very tight on it. But same thing, take the plate off. And I wouldn't do this every time you serge, but every couple days, if you're serging for a week, I would take the plate off, clean everything before you put it back up or before you start another major project.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
How much is service on the serger and on manual sewing machines?
So a serger is $129.
And manual?
Okay, and then I have a question too. Is that for a manual serger as well?
It's any serger.
Okay, $129.
$129 on a manual.
On $129 on a manual
Machine,
machine.
and then on electronic machine, it's $129.
Non-electronic.
Vintage machine is still $99. So, but let's talk about a vintage machine. So we service it for $99, but if it's been sitting in the garage in Arizona or anywhere else, a lot of times it needs a really good cleaning and chemical cleaning. And what we talk about that is chemical cleaning, meaning we spray it down with some different chemicals. We set it aside for the day. We come back, we do it again, we come back. So we do charge extra for that, but we let you know before we do that.
Okay.
On it. So just FYI, you know, even when you think, oh, it's an old metal machine, it doesn't need much. It's just like an old car that sat there forever. It does not just need an oil change. It needs everything. Yeah. On it. So.
Oh, that I have another question then about that. I actually have a manual manual I opted for because I've used it for years and I know it and it's easy. It has fewer problems, fewer things that can go wrong with it. But when I first took a serger class at Phoenix College, they said, usually they say these machines don't have to be oiled because they lubricate naturally with use, but that's not true in Arizona. Now, is that your thinking as well?
Yes.
Okay, that just because we live in Arizona, which is so dry, we have to oil them anyway.
Yeah, and that's something like Jackie was saying in the beginning. You want to do the service. It's not only oiling and cleaning, like you guys just saw. There's a lot of adjustments, but the oil side of it, especially because we are in Arizona and it's so dry, even if you have it in your own room, but if you use the machine every day, basically you want to get the machine service at least every 6 months if it's every day.
Right.
If it's, 1 or 2 times a week, then once a year it's fine. But what they probably want to tell you is of the machine itself, where we put oil inside when we do the service. There's basically when it's metal on metal, most of the machine. So what it does, it heats up and it kind of opens little holes when it sucks back in the oil when it actually dries out. So basically that oil is always there and it actually gets expelled as it heats up the mechanism. So that's why probably they're saying that it's oiling by itself, but it's not oiling by itself, because after a while the heat, what it does, evaporates the oil basically, and there's no oil in the machine. That's why we service the machine, because we put the oil back into it.
I enjoy my computerized sewing machine, but I have to say, having a mechanical serger has been very easy, because even the booklet tells you how to take it apart, where to oil it, how to clean it. It really is easy. And half the time when I use I don't even have to change the blades very often, because if I just consider my seam allowance and I run it right up to the blade, saves the blade.
Yeah.
I think Arlene has a question.
Yes. Do we oil anything that moves on the serger?
No.
Something like that.
Yeah, yes and no.
I mean, if it's metal to metal, is it something, all of that we should oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's what I've been doing, but now I'm thinking
It's a
maybe
good
not.
rule. Yes, it's a good rule. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You can lower your hand now.
She's like, "Ooh, yeah, there
I
you go."
couldn't figure out how to do it. That's why the little hand. So
Yes. It was amazing. It was truly amazing. I learned a lot from you guys today.
Yay, good. That's what our point is.
yeah.
And
And I think you may have sold a
Good
vacuum.
job. Good job.
the
There you
vacuum
go.
was great.
Yeah, they're great for a little bit. In your car, they're great for the car.
Yeah.
Yes, we will do that.
Yeah.
Can I also say that
Okay.
Yep.
we've invited you back for next month? And
I guess so. We are. You did.
well, we're getting a lot of demand.
No, just
Well, he's
Yeah,
welcome
Rick will do
to
our
come
assignment.
back too. We may have more questions, but
yeah.
we're
There you go.
ergonomic and adaptive equipment, magnifying things for threading, and you're gonna throw in some more fun notions we would love to know about. So
I'll
that's
have a bunch of notions.
awesome.
Definitely.
All right,
Yay,
thank
that's
you
good.
so
We can
much
do that.
for throwing in the
Great.
Awesome.
and the embroidery arm information.
Yep.
Truly.
You're very welcome.
Yes.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions, let us know.
Okay.
we will.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
When the next meeting is, the date?
Any other questions, let me know. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Or the date of the meeting, next month's meeting date?
I'll send that out. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You can just shut it off.
That was good.
Rat. Who's Rat? So I wrote down
Who are you
those
talking to?
two. Marcy. Iva girl. Who's Iva?
Iva Garrison.
Oh.
Cat is Kathy Halverson.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Jim didn't stick around.
No, he didn't.